Get your sign-ups in, ladies and gentlemen. We got two fantastic spokespeople to tell you why you should be playing for $10,000 this weekend if you've ever touched Deadlock. Uber, I'm excited for this thing. We got Trolley ponying up some serious cash.
Dude, I'm about it. You know what's crazy? I've never had this before. I got sent obviously some product thanks to our friends over at Trolley. I have a whole ass box of it. Appeared at my front door, and I am loving
away.
It. This is dangerous. This is for someone it's getting harder and harder to keep the weight off, bro. This stuff is fire. So shout out to them. But yeah, 10K for each region in Deadlock is unbelievable, right? It's fantastic, and we always try to give the players a reason to compete. Now even more so. So I'm looking forward to see the competition level up in all regions with that prize money on the line, baby.
I mean,
Jake, I kind of feel like starting a gas station with the amount of Trolley that's in my house. I just ate a bag for dinner, didn't even order anything.
So good.
But they're getting behind the gamers on Deadlock before any of the other big brands. It's been Intel and it's been Trolley so far.
Awesome.
It's huge to see, and I mean, what's kind of blown me away is the scale of the open signups, right? So the qualifiers are fully open. We're gonna invite some of the top teams because, okay, we know, have played Night Shift for a while.
Bro, how
there
are
those top
this,
teams
dude?
in another echelon. But we have so many teams coming in off the open signups. NA signups aren't closed yet, by the way. I think this is the last day for folks to sign up to get your teams together for NA. I mean, the qualifiers are going to be wild. And honestly, I was totally blown away when I saw.
How are we going to get these guys? How are we going to manage this? Like, we need an army of tournament organizers and like admins.
We'll figure
to run
something
this.
out. That's our problem. That's our problem. We got.
We know some nerds. We got some people. We'll be able to handle this pressure. But big shout out to everyone who wants to get involved. If you haven't heard of it, go back, just rewind in the show. We'll also remind you about it in the future. For now, though, we got to dive in to North Americans competition here on night shift number 10. Here for the double digits, Melee Creeps are taking on some big streamers. We got Deathy and the Unks taking the stage as they're warming up for their Trolley competition. We're going to have the qualifiers kicking off on Friday. So this is a great run through for everybody about 2 days before it. Uber, talk to me about these teams. What do you know about the Unks and the Melee Creeps?
Yeah, so for me, obviously the Unks feature Deathy, who's my favorite content creator in Deadlock. I can say that honestly. A lot of his educational content I'd like to check out on YouTube. He even put a coaching session with SK up recently, which was like super valuable. So if you don't want to maybe pay for the coaching, that's like a great example of what you get. I know I'm kind of shilling for the guy. He's a legend. Love him very much. So great to have him and his team on the show. I'm pumped about the Melee Creeps, right? Seeing what John and Sire are working on is always interesting to me. This team is pretty sick, right? A lot of known names here in Deadlock, and you're always going to get top quality gameplay from them. But they pulled up short last week against Sneaky Golem, so hoping to see him go all the way this time.
Yeah, I mean,
Jake, as we take a look at the roster, walk me through it. Sorry.
No worries. Just on name value, I feel like this is a team that as soon as we saw them come together, we knew that this would be a big threat of a team here in North America. I mean, the front line here with Saya and John kind of like leading the charge, and then Fishcake as well on a lot of these heavy frontliners. Really, really impressive stuff. And I think just across the board, this has to be one of the most stacked teams we've had previously. However, they also lost to Sneaky Golem last week, so I feel like this shows that NA Deadlock maybe has never been more competitive here post the breakup of Hydra Nation. We've got multiple strong teams coming together, which makes sense coming into this massive double weekend of Trolley 10K tournaments, right? Everyone wants to have a share of that prize pool. Everyone wants to claim a spot on the throne, as we've seen with the crazy open signups we've been getting.
DMB has won multiple weeks here on the night shift. Will his team be able to make it to a grand finals on the other side of the fight? Melee Creeps are taking on the Unks, 30 plus, all Abrams, all the time. I know about Gibbs and Wander. Dash is going to be in the mix, and Deathy is your favorite streamer. But Jake, have you run into any of these guys in your lobby, in your matchmaking fights? Who's the toughest on the squad in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I see all these guys in my ranked games, these days. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. I always think, there's something to be said right now in Deadlock. Like, the game isn't that solved. People are all figuring out things and trying new things. Something to be said for some of these rosters coming together and just kind of throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks, willing to try crazy plays that could catch a team off guard here in a best of one. I mean, if I had to pick one player, I would give some love to Lona. I think he's a particularly strong player, one that maybe could be one to have a big performance in this game in particular. That being said, you got to see them as the underdogs, right? Melee Creeps are a team that's been scrimming together for a while, that has been training. this should be a solid win for Melee Creeps. It should be a moment for them to get their feet under themselves and, you know, continue to extend further toward that top of NA to give Sneaky Golem a tough test. But if the Youngs can make them work for it, things can start to get spicy.
Yeah, people in the chat asking, wait, Saya flipped from Sneaky Golem to the Creeps. Saya is going to be in action in the Challenger matchup. You will see the full Sneaky Golem lineup in the final because Hydra Nation blew up a week ago. After winning Night Shift number 8, they entered Night Shift number 9 with a totally new roster. Rocker is at the helm over there at Sneaky Golem. We'll tell you all about the championship lineup in just a bit. But Uber, this is the qualifier matchup. This is where we get our first look at what Deathy's crew is going to be running in the Trolley tournament. Do you have any predictions as a stream viewer? Anyone you want to see Deathy bring up against the Melee Creeps, a squad that we've seen quite a bit?
I mean, it would be a flavor win if Bro just runs it down on Lash, right? But Deathy does like a lot of those very movement intensive sort of heroes. So you could even potentially see him on something like, you know, Mina or something similar. So I'm expecting to see something that covers the map pretty effectively, gets involved in live fights. He's also seems like a really good caller in my experience. So just, you know, guy's got a really good handle on the game. He's played over 3,000 hours of Deadlock at this point. So like, you know, bro absolutely knows his stuff. I can't speak so much, you know, to the rest of his team because I don't play at that rank that Jake does. I don't see these guys in game, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, if he gives his seal of approval, I'm on board. I will say, though, that Melee Creeps, I'm a big fan of the John Saya duo. You know, always looking to see them thrown down. And I'm liking with that mild patch we got like a week or so ago, sort of brought into the game and also nerfing Veilwalker a little bit. So, but look at Jake. Jake is locked in for the 1v1, bro.
Look at your health, baby. 70% gone.
This one's over, man. It's never been more over.
Oh my God. He's breaking ankles.
Perfecting him? Oh my God. What just happened?
Don't let my man play Street Fighter. Was that using his hands or his feet, Uber?
Bro,
Jesus.
I don't know.
Just put that work in, dude. What the heck?
That is Deathy, bro. What's going on there, brother? Please. Okay.
Dude, we gotta chalk that one up, bro. Never happened. We're on the draft. Oh, we're second pick. How did that happen? It's crazy.
Oh, you just
That's
ran
crazy.
random.
We have to ban Kelvin now? That's so weird.
Bro got violated, man. Holy smokes.
I wonder, will NA put the same prio on Victor? Because EU, I think, is starting to think, I mean, it seems from the ban prio, starting to think Victor is maybe like a bigger threat, a bigger prio than the Calvin. Melee Creeps are going to open with a Shiv ban. Which is pretty interesting here. Maybe this is like attacking the hero pool, specifically the Unks. I don't know their heroes well enough to be sure about that. It's definitely an odd ban. I wouldn't expect to see Shiv going here in the first ban.
Yeah, and definitely like in second round, it's like reasonable, right? But the fact that Kelvin is being passed over at the moment, and obviously there are a lot of really powerful other heroes. And Victor could be looked at. Infernus banned by the Unks.
This is. Okay. I honestly think Melee Creeps are banning the Shiv now because they're not going to take Kelvin. I think they're. I would assume going to take a Victor. Maybe it's something else. Maybe like a Paradox. They really want first prio. Because I think the reason you ban Shiv here is that you don't want to give Kelvin +1 to the second. Although as I say that, why don't you just ban the Kelvin in the first place? Why the Shiv?
Okay, just you want to break up the Kelvin Shiv and just get one half of it.
Okay, if you were going to take the Kelvin, I really don't understand the Shiv ban at all now. But I guess they just think Shiv's that good.
Yeah, the issue is they don't want to like. I mean, I guess they knew they wouldn't get both. And they're just accepting that they're going to take half of that out. That's fine. I mean, it really depends on like what their intention. They must have an intended lane partner for the Kelvin here already. Yamato picked up really powerful laner, right? So it's gonna like she is such a nuisance, especially Crimson Slash with the fire rate slow is just filthy. So yeah, very powerful.
What is the lore on her big forehead, Jake?
It's the Neon Prime model.
There's a lot going into that one. A lot of details. Yeah. You got to read a lot of books. You got to speak Japanese.
I mean, the truth is, this model is from a prior game, right? That got canceled, Neon Prime. So that model is a holdover from Neon Prime. And we don't know if.
And she had a big ass forehead in Neon Prime too.
Yeah, she did. But I'm saying, like, look,
and it was more acceptable in that context.
Uber, this is catfish. You look at her emblem right here, and then you meet her in game.
That's how I take my selfies as well, bro. Like I make sure like you don't see any of this action.
Some of the mod packs are really fire, I will say, on Yamato. So I think this is one of the models that's definitely going to get redone at some point. But we got to enjoy it while we have it, guys. Someday we're going to be looking
back is here
at the 8-head Yamato.
I literally heard the guys on
the good old days.
The guys on Dead Air were speculating that Yamato, as powerful as she is being picked less because she's less aesthetically pleasing in the setting of sort of the cursed apple. He's Victor locked in. So I think Victor, crucially, with that reduction to self damage, feels a little less sort of risky to play. And obviously, like the way the pain battery works can be pretty oppressive. Also,
I think with Kelvin on the lineup, it's going to be really annoying to play against Victor, right? Because Victor has so many means to kind of stall his death. He comes in, he's, hitting your walkers. You try to jump on him, you try to punish him, you think you can kill him. And then, at some point in the game, he's going to have all these debuff removers with his second skill. He's going to have like an E shift to keep him alive longer, not to mention the ulti and all the healing in the kit. And then over the top is going to come Kelvin and like trap you into a really awkward fight, or just trap you on that shocking reanimation, right, with the Victor. So already this team fight looks super scary for melee creeps, and I think Yamato and Pac are gonna have their work cut out for him for sure.
And why is Bebop going in the second round, guys? I feel like I need Listic in here to just show his displeasure.
Dude, it's John John's team. It's John John. It's I'm sorry, it's John John's team, right? You obviously Bebop has great disruptive potential, and the gun builds are pretty strong as well. Like I think you take like weakening headshot and a number of those other builds. Like the Bebop can maintain relevance towards that later stage of the game. And Mina, even with Nox Nostra no longer just steamrolling objectives down, is still considered to be quite powerful. There was some buffs, I feel like, to the way Rake works and stuff like that, and she can float around. She looks mad cute. So, I get it. Melee creeps don't want the youngster. She
doesn't have that like press button, take your objective thing with the ulti, which is a little bit absurd with like just soloing walkers and things like that at any phase of the game.
It had no place in Deadlock.
An insane carry, right? Still an insane carry and can farm up really well. Right now, melee creeps, I actually think both teams are kind of doing what I expected them to do. I think for the Unks, you're coming into this as like a team of streamers. You got to play a bunch of individualistic, kind of high skill comfort heroes where you can kind of pop off, make plays, be a little crazy around the map, split up the opposition, and kind of pull the game in towards that ranked atmosphere where you can actually thrive. For melee creeps, I think they want exactly the opposite. They want this to be a game about team fighting, about big engagements on objectives, where the experience playing together, the itemization, understanding those super complex team fights is going to pay dividends. So actually, I'm happy to see the Unks kind of drafting a lot of these potentially individualistic heroes. For melee creeps, it is a super scary team fight. Like, there's no getting around it, man. If you get that heads up big team fight, it's going to look good for them. And actually, I think Wraith is a nice way to almost force your hand to team fight, because trying to do a split push game against Wraith, really difficult. I'd say she's probably one of the best carries when it comes to splitting.
Yeah, I also like her base bullet damage got a bit of a buff, so a bit more focus in like that the gun sort of Wraith builds, but it's been a little while, right? Obviously telekinesis is really, really powerful. Vindicta here as well can render a lot of those more ground-born heroes kind of irrelevant, but there are a couple of ways you can punish this Vindicta. Like Bebop is in the game here, so that's obviously something you've got to be fairly mindful of. Calico's mobility is insane. Like leaping slash can literally get to the top of buildings from the lane. It is unbelievable what you can do on that. And also the Gloom Bomb radius is now increased, so it's actually easy to hit more of those on an individual target.
I think Doorman would have been a good shout, actually, if I get genuinely, I think it's a good pick here. But they go with the Viscous with almost, a similar idea. In this case, they're going for more of the single target hard save with Cube rather than, being able to, I think Doorman ult something like Victor or Kelvin and just kind of ignore them while you focus other players would have been nice this game. But for the Unks, Viscous game, makes this a question of early snowballing. They're going to go with the Mo and Krill, so they're kind of doubling down melee creeps with the last two picks on, hey, we already won the team fight with they have doubled down on the Fedoras. They should have taken Infernus, really stack it up. The Fedora quotient in Deadlock is kind of getting out of control.
Yeah.
But, already the team fight looks super scary for melee creeps, so I think going Wraith Mo as your last two really is going to make it now much harder for the Unks to do exactly what I said I thought they should, which is
that is crazy.
That's wild. That's wild. The bro's got black magic. We're now to split, make the game all crazy with Pocket and Viscous trying to be cheeky and make side lane plays. Good luck against Mo Wraith, man. That sounds so toxic.
Dude, this is such a mobile. Yeah, it's like a mobile goon squad, and emphasis on goon here. This sort of squad, they are going to be all over the map. The way that they can also fight secondary objectives and also trade out walkers if they lose earn fights and such is pretty potent. But I'm curious to see how Victor plays out here, bro. When is at max rank of his ult, when it's on cooldown, he gets insane stat buffs as well. So bro,
what if you're just driving around LA and you see a mobile goon squad? What do you do, Uber? I'm lost for words.
I just chalk it up to the Zoomers taking over, bro. You know what I mean? I just get on with my life.
Children's eyes.
Yeah,
just keep it rolling.
I'm just an honest man, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't understand what I don't understand, you know what I mean? I'll just let it pass by me, you know what I'm saying?
I'm wearing fake chains. If you too would like to buy fake chains, you can head over to Amazon. We have a request link for Jake's cosplay coming up around holidays. A big Halloween show is around the corner. Uber's already bought some pumpkins. We're going to be carving those live and hopefully not bleeding on camera. It's going to be a blast. Uber, all of that is coming after we give away another $1,000 to North America tonight and $20,000 to North America and EU this weekend and next week. And we'll talk about that more later. Right now, it's the challenger matchup. Melee Creeps. It's a cat face on a suit taking on the Unks. Deathy is playing in the Trolley 10K. Tune in.
Yeah, you could consider this a great prelude, of course, for the higher stakes matches coming this weekend, thanks to our friends over at Trolley. But Intel have basically functioned as the NA and EU stimulus package in Deadlock for quite some time now. So big shout out to them and for their support on the night shift. Let's jump in, of course. Much to discuss, I think, in some of these lane assignments. Bebop Calico to mid here for Melee Creeps. Curious to see what that Yamato lane is supposed to look like here for the Unks. Looks like that also might be up alongside the Vindicta here in mid. So, okay, quite a volatile matchup here.
Yeah, Bebop in the mid, I think, always adds a lot of spice to the mid lane. You know, I think generally not a very strong laner, but if you just start hitting hooks, right? If you just start, putting the aggression on the opponent, things can get pretty scary. That being said, I mean, Yamato Paradox, they're going to put a clock on you, right? The counter pressure from those two is going to be very, very real. Meanwhile, Calvin, just doing Calvin things, dominating the side lane. That's going to be a scary one. Calvin Victor, just infinite healing. Needs some heal banes up very quickly in that lane.
Of course, yeah. I'm curious to see how it plays out. Someone who can really make use, of course, of like the Frost Grenade level 2 look there. So,
oh my God, what is this lane control?
Yeah, what was that?
He's uppercutting his own creep further back to like.
Oh, that's so sick.
Wait, is it? Did he like hide it on that? Did the creep not come? We need to check the souls after this wave is clear. Did he hide the creep on the high ground so it doesn't come to the lane? Wait, if that works, this is actually broken. If you could deny one creep every wave, unironically, that would be broken.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because I don't know, it depends on what the pathing AI is like, right? If you can actually get back into the lane.
It doesn't seem like the soul, like, I guess they're like behind in mid, so I don't know what's going on with that uppercut. I can't explain that. Science is not advanced to that point yet.
All right, we'll keep you guys abreast of any further developments in that regard that we sort of spot out. Right now, though, it looks like priority with the Unks, of course, with the Vindicta perched up there on that high ground and the threat of Crimson Slash plus power slash damage in the lane. Pretty safe going here for Melee Creeps. I wouldn't say the same over on this side of the map. We're in the left lane here, and Melee Creeps, of course, with this Wraith laner, definitely leaning into Lona here. Very low, of course, is that Abrams. Step forward here, of course, by the pocket, to try and relieve some of this pressure, but Melee Creeps are laying it on thick here.
Pocket, pretty weak lane there this early, and Abrams can't do much about it. So, this lane already looks super scary. They're losing a ton of tower HP. Mo's continuing to punt that pressure in, and a big kill could turn things around as Deathy getting active, punishes Lord and M for a bit of hubris there, overconfident, and now DMB caught, no parries left. It's going to be
rapid fire also on cooldown.
That's solid for Pocket, right? Grabbing 2 kills. I mean, this is the weakest moment of Pocket's game, right? Before he gets that Majestic Leap online. Now he's freezing wave. Okay, that looked like a really problematic lane, and now it's very much recovered for the Unks.
I love that little switch up. He'll head over to the right side of the map. This is, of course, the Victor Kelvin lane. Is he scout with that jump start, taking some initial damage up front, but being able to regen as time goes on. Curious to see what this build ends up being. There's a ton of sort of really nice items, but again, you go into Spirit pretty heavily. There's a ton of options. You can still look in the Veil Walker, Reactive Barrier, Spirit Shielding direction. But I kind of like when we start to see him mixing like Berserker, Healing Tempo as well, kind of relevant. So see that plays out. Nice little hook connection onto Aiden the Destroyer. You could have put an R at the end of it. I don't know. Able to get away, of course, with that flight, but that is the threat, of course, that John will be posing.
Yeah, big thing's able to get the flight leveled up there and slip out of that one. Would have been a tough death for Vindicta here in the mid. So far, pretty stable laning phase, showing that the Unks can hang. All right, they're not washed just yet. They still got it for the moment.
Yeah, nothing huge developing out of these lanes. Of course, we saw a little bit of froth on the left side, but Deathy did very well to trade 1-for-1 there. As we know exactly once that ult is specced into, how scary the Vindicta can be. Here to the other side of mid, of course, we're on John's perspective, who's been pretty brisk in picking up that battle vest basically straight away. Wants that just that gun to be empowered when he's nice and healthy.
Ult's coming online here in the next wave or so. Deathy is going to have that pocket ult up first. However, DMB has the ulti to match, so definitely got to be a little bit scared here. Even Abrams, I don't know if you're able to tank these double ults back-to-back from the Mo and Wraith lane. Just an absolutely toxic fight on the side lane. Abrams started off tanking a lot. It doesn't mind that.
Shoulder charge back away. I mean, I'm pretty sure Lona happy enough having drawn that ultimate out. Deathy, is he just trying to rush her?
It's hard majestic lead rush. Item? That's the meta pretty much on Pocket, right? Is that item just changes your game completely. Allows you to get in and then cast spells. Okay, here's that ultimate connecting here onto the Mo, but Mo is tanky. He's absolutely soaking it.
Able to get away from the unburrow rather, but should be pressured down here. Lord able to run Deathy down. Oh man, that is not good. A straight up 2 for 0 there. Lord snatching up both of those eliminations. Of course, telekinesis made use of earlier, played around and still the Youngs can't find the edge. And now, of course, Wraith, very good at mowing his objectives down with that rapid fire 3.
Yeah, and the next minutes or so of the game are going to be really crucial, right? Because DMB has a very hot start in the game, wants to continue farming up. Kelvin, Victor also grabbing a kill in the side lane, and they might dive this pretty hard. There's a lot of sustain in this lane. That frost grenade up in a few seconds. Paradox has to just play around the wall. Little Kobe for this? Little Kobe for the Kelvin?
Long range? Saya surely thinking about it.
Oh,
it's trivial, really, diving these Guardians, isn't it, with the parry? Yeah, just throw that out. Really no threat to you from that initial stun. A lot of pressure, though, Jake, being applied to this right side lane. And that Guardian already down a half.
Yeah, and Gibbs just didn't have roll for the dome, you know? So Saya dominating the lane so hard this early. And now Gibbs is going to have his roll. Does he want to use this just purely to defend? I don't think there's much chance of a real counter pressure here, given that, yeah, Kelvin and Victor just laughing that one off.
So, of course, that shocking reanimation now available for the Victor. So that's just an impossible lane to kill when you consider Dome in the mix as well. Aiden brought down here eventually. Looks like Fishcake was able to run up on them. And that mid lane, the best performing lane for Unks in terms of how much health they got left on that Guardian, that's also about to be rectified here, I imagine, as melee creeps now can start to get some of that objective damage in. And sadly for the Unks, all of these lanes starting to collapse early.
Yeah, and this is the true test of a team, right? How do you make the comeback in this spot? Yamato wants to get a catch here on a low HP Bebop. It's one of the best chances they're going to get. A big parry here. Nice catch onto Fishcake. And I think they're going to be able to find a second. Yeah, Bebop, no way out of this play.
Beautifully done there. Shadow Transformation used that effect for Wander at the start of that fight, but the parry is what really sets up for a lot of that extra damage to come on in, especially now the changes to it, right? Where you take extra weapon damage as well as melee damage now when you're parried. Here we go. Lord M in Wander's direction here, but can't do too much about the Guardian. That is going to be picked up, and he'll have to satisfy himself with farming the remainders.
You're going to be happy to open up the mid Guardian here. A big hook on the Auto. Wander just dead to rights there. John makes him pay the price, and now it looks like a counter tier 1. Going to be going down here. Melee creeps wasting no time. I don't think they're going to be too mad about trading down Guardians with this kind of an early game advantage.
Yeah, zero concern about leaping into the mid game, but it is a bit weird because, I mean, Sinners aren't even up yet, and these Guardians are sort of being taken down. So there's a little bit of like a 40-second window where you can sort of roam and look to collapse these side lanes further before you start thinking about Sinners, and already melee creeps collapsing onto that right-hand side. And there's nothing to be done here. There's just far too many players locally to do anything about it. Cold Front even used by Lord and M in case anyone got too close. Unfortunately, Dash knows better than to linger.
It's going to be an attempt here to trade out the other side lane walker. Speed in from Mo, see if he's able to get here to make the defense. Abrams wants to commit on this with his life potentially, but looks like they're going to get it almost for free here. So in the end, melee creeps, I don't think they're going to be too worried about losing that Guardian. It's really going to be this third and final Guardian where you're going to see them, I think, really commit to not letting that go down. With Kelvin and Victor able to hold that lane nearly forever. Right now, Victor, though, has shocking reanimation, so kind of wants this fight, but he's in very deep and the parry is baited.
Could be in trouble. Here's the reanimation now, but it's going to be respected. They step out of the stun radius, and Scout has to get the heck out of there. Suffice to say, the pain battery's charged, but there's a bit more than that came from now as the frozen shelter will be deployed, and Wander maybe regrets committing so heavily to this situation. Scout tears strips off the Yamato yet again, and it was not alone while he was farming those enemy Sinners.
Yeah, had the team coming in to back him up. The shocking reanimation buys plenty of time for that, and stealing doubles at 8 minutes is a really big tempo swing here for melee creeps. They didn't even lose the side lane Guardian for it as well. Deathy over the top here with Pocket. I mean, this Mo has gone absolutely all spirit. This is not your typical tanky Mo and Krill, but he's healing a lot off of those first kills. You got to be a little bit careful. Still, this kill's too juicy. You just can't let them all get away when you got them caught like that.
Yeah, I mean, duration extender as well, presumably for that combo, just to make that pick potential a little bit better, and the extra scorn healing with the spirit scaling. Nice to see, but takes a bit more than that. DMB now realizes this might be a bit more compromising. Healing right available for a top up, and of course, he's got the escape.
Yeah, and DMB is just not concerned with anything going on in this game. He's playing his own game. He's playing a little PvE in here in the side lane. Happy to be down Guardian. He's just going to pure farm here. And if you do leave him alone, make no mistake, he's going to start counter pressuring that enemy walker. Looks like a fight starting to break out here.
Fishcake
thinking about getting into it, though. Yeah, he's not that scared. He's like willing to take these trades.
Yeah, I mean, again, so much, froth around these Sinners right now. You can see that Melee Creeps really just want to get that early lead and snowball as much as possible. Wanda's got to respect the Aurora being here. We're going to be locked down by the combo, and Fishcake swings in for the kill.
You see, like, the ability to assist your teammates right here in these low numbers engagements is so strong here for Melee Creeps. And a nice parry onto Victor. Art Gibbs just putting that work in. Holds his nerve there, and Scout goes for the early parry and ends up getting kind of styled on.
Yeah, casting buff picked up there, of course, in that exchange. You obviously can't steal it with Puddle Punch, although that would be nice. He's able to take it the old-fashioned way after the fact. 6k is the difference in this game. Of course, mid-boss and buffs are now both spawning. Order name, don't be fooled. This is just the quickest traverse across the map through the mid-boss pit. We'll be doubling back here, maybe concerned about the proximity of Lona, who does hit that shoulder charge now. And there's some fighting to be done. Burrow here, Lona jumped up to the high ground, and Scout is more than happy to get back involved in yet another fight. Affliction going to be popped here now. Deathy trying to control the area of the fight. Lord and M Scout both caught out by that one, but Aiden elsewhere is down. That's a Vindictor out of the situation, and he is frozen shelter. Seen it many times before, I'm quite sure. Sire with a duration extender as well to make it as punishing as possible. Alona, it's not getting out alive.
Yeah, Sai is just a huge problem here. And the Kelvin, you see Calico and Victor's HP is just not going down. Abrams has no choice but to try and just kind of walk it off, but just not that realistic. Hibiscus goo balling, trying to get out of this one, but yeah, I mean, this is a fully passive. Goo ball keeps you alive, but you still give up the urn, and things are going kind of from bad to worse here. Yeah. I think a lot rests on the shoulders of Pocket. It's kind of like the one significant team fight ultimate you can bring the damage with here. Yamato forced the ulti, but DMB's not scared. He's taking this trade.
Yeah, and he is very strong right now. Tesla bullets, of course, being picked up. That represents a significant power spike. I don't think anyone's paying Lona too much attention there. He's going to have to drag himself away. Quick correction, of course. It was a compressed cooldown, not a duration extender for our Kelvin there, which is a very standard pickup.
It is a max duration for Lord NM, though, so the combo is just an absolute death sentence. It really is. I mean, it's only on Gibbs, right, to be able to make those saves, but Biscuits just can't be everywhere all at once, especially with Mo's mobility to kind of roam around the map, and really Melee Creeps' experience in finding those pickoffs where the saves just won't come in time.
Oh yeah, looking at bullet resist Shredder and Tesla bullets for John. So that gun is definitely leaving a little bit more than just a mark. And I's already looking at this right side walker here. Gibbs trying to make something happen, pick up some of these cams from that left side jungle as the wave is pushed up in their favor. What's the plan here? Good catch by Wanda. Looking for a fight here, and I don't know if that's advisable. No shadow transformation available. Wanda very quickly is going to be staved off. Aiden was looking for a line here, but you've got to respect the Bebop's presence, who can obviously draw a bead on you at very long range. I don't know if there's much to do here for the Vindictor, excuse me.
And I mean, the Ungs have numbers here. They brought 4 players, but it's actually Melee Creeps who are pushing them back and really just controlling all of this space around the tier 1 Guardian. And, you know, I think for the Unks, they correctly realize, right, if you take a brutal team wipe here, it's not going to be worth it to grab that Guardian. Gibbs nearly finds that burst on a John, who escapes on a sliver of HP. That's going to be a painful one. Would have been super worth to take that 1-for-1, but just can't quite get the payoff.
Especially with the...
Gentlemen, I have an update. I got to break in here real quick. So we have some news. A mystery donor is helping us celebrate the fact that we just hit 800 subs over on twitch.tv/Deadlock Night Shift. They will match up to 100 subs between now and the end of the NA final. So if you were ever thinking about using that Prime, they will match up to 100 subs. Help us reach 1,000 before episode number 10 ends tonight. It'd be a great way to celebrate.
Guys, NA Deadlock needs you. So too does it seem DMB, who's running away on low HP, but you just can't catch the Kelvin sometimes.
Yeah, no, he's out of there. Sire here. DMB, though, under a little bit more pressure. I like the Aurora being used to try and slow Lona down. Gibbs going to be traded out for DMB, though. So that is the Wraith finally being dealt with. A good group up here for the Unks. Obviously, eyes over towards mid. Still that right side Guardian. You called it, Jake. Melee Creeps really investing in keeping that one standing. At least gives them a far deeper foothold on that right side of the map, is evidenced by Fishcake, who's just waiting around in that right side jungle of the Youngs, snatching up those souls.
Yeah, and also we're going to reach this point where that lack of even a single flex slot is pretty punishing. Like, there's a couple upgrades you can grab, but you know, maybe for 5 more minutes, you're going to be able to do just okay in the build. But at some point, this is going to become a real issue for the Unks. They're going to have to find an opening to take down that tower. But you see Melee Creeps, I mean, that right wave is just constantly deep shoved. Hell, it's near the base Guardians right now.
I mean, we might have a fight in the right side jungle here. The Unks are really trying to stake their claim to it, but John's working on this Sinner. There's the puddle punch. Respected. Pressure here as well. You know, pretty deep, obviously, in the absence of that Walker, which you can kind of do as you want over that side of the map. Gibbs here now running straight into John, and that's a lot of damage being added there, of course, by Lord and M, who with that combo still has plenty of damage to clean off the Viscous, and that is Unks now knocks down a peg yet again. A lot of farm here, free to be taken, and buffs have just spawned up.
Yeah, that mobility buff goes to the Melee Creeps. Unks grab the buff on the other side of the map, and now they're going to take the fight to Scout, who doesn't have ultimate, right? Has kind of played a little bit risky clear that wave.
No help for Scout at all.
Yeah, and Deathy's trying to do it without affliction. Okay, I think it's a wise commitment. You don't want to end up failing this kill because of that, but DMB's here to assist. You don't have the suitcase pocket. So vulnerable when he's locked down with those CCs. Deathy, can he play his way out of this? Needs to be able to cape away. DMB trying to go for that finish after, and now Fishcake comes in. Hammer and Anvil, no escape there for Deathy, and Scout walks that one off. So just baiting them on the Victor, right? That's classic Victor.
The Stone Take is all but guaranteed here. I think it's just the Vindicta of Aiden who's in the way, and surely they'll make a bit of space now as already the Calico. Fishcake's done a very good job here at going ahead and just sort of clearing the way, setting up, clearing these camps as well. Melee Creeps can fold in behind them and do things just like this. We can transition here. 3 players on the left side to a Walker take. The wave is pushed up perfectly for it. This one's been cooked to perfection. Another big objective that the Younks are about to lose.
Yeah, great traversal, and they're just hard diving under the Walker. Where's the stomp, bro? Walker, what are you doing? And the frozen shelter from Kelvin is going to get them all to full HP under the Walker. DMB, though, tried to make a defense on the other side of the map and actually got caught and punished. So the Unks are actually, it seems, going to get a Walker trade out of this. Melee Creeps, no problem clearing this objective, but if you go 1 for 1 here, I think you're going to be very happy as the Unks.
Yeah, I mean, also, mid is not ripe for a swing onto the Walker for Melee Creeps. The wave's not pushed for them here. So how can John hold the Unks off of that right side Walker? Deathy might have been caught out here yet again. Satchel departed.
Dive. Oh, Fishcake just fearless goes all the way into the base. Is he going to get caught maybe by Dash? Can you get these trades? I mean, these trades are so valuable with the comeback threat, but I mean, even Gibbs goes down for it, and you're starting to get desperate as Youngs. I can't blame him. You got to chase out for these like risky counter kills. But yeah, it seems like mid-boss could be on the cards. Melee Creeps, it'd be a little bit risky, but they've been no stranger to taking risks this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, they could also force the Youngs to fight over this mid-Walker. Maybe try and take an advantageous fight and transition off of it. You can see the soul difference is pretty palpable at this point. You can see a lot of those big items start to make their way in. Torment Pulse obviously so important for Victor, who is going to spend much of his time surrounded by many, many foes. Greater expansion as well. Kind of crazy, but, you know, pretty nice. Pain Battery is going to catch on to more stuff around him. It's a problem to have him stay in the middle of your team constantly. Bit of a power spike, though, here for the Vindicta. Boundless Spirit has been picked up, so gotta watch out for those abilities hitting like a truck.
Wait, what the hell is Aiden's build? I don't even know who's building Boundless on Vindicta. Is he going like a snipe build or something? Very odd choices, Mo. Look at Lord and M waiting in that veil. Look at these juicy creeps. Don't you want some creeps? Gibbs sniffs him out, though. Nope,
and
too
there
late.
It is. Warpstone into combo, Jake. Gibbs has nowhere to go right now. Little baggy drop down. Thank you very much for the Prime subs coming in, by the way, and all the rest of the subs on chat. We'll get Puck to keep us abreast of that, but the game is getting to a bit of a fever pitch here. Yeah, it feels like Vindicta, I know she goes into that Mystic vulnerability to try and, you know, replace some of the Spirit Shred she loses off that nerf, but yeah, I don't know about Boundless. That's an interesting choice. We're going to look at the build a little bit later on. Mid-boss, though, is going to be gobbled up here. No ifs or buts about it.
And I mean, do you go for this? I think you almost have to as the Unks. Maybe Pocket can get in here for some shenanigans, but yeah, Abrams is not. So they're not going to go for it. And, you know, honestly, I would have liked to see them try something there, given how bad the game was going, because now with the 20k soul deficit and the rejuve against them, you're trying at sort of a desperate wave push here, but this is going to be expensive. I mean, if you're able to find a bunch of counter kills from Melee Creeps, this could be a chance to siege the base. They've already found Dash and maybe even Vindicta. Yeah, being hunted down. Remember, he's got 6K in Boundless, so he is not tanky on that Vindicta.
That's true. There's a huge investment really in just damage for the Vindicta. And of course, eventually there is a response on the left lane by melee creeps, but the Walker ends up being taken. So the Unks give up a player for that, but I've done a terrible job here at keeping up with some of those larger objectives and of course getting crucial souls as a result. However, they're up against 3 rejuve creds and now melee creeps who are eyeing off that mid Walker.
And I mean, this duration, Calvin, is going to be so annoying to fight into because that falls in shelter. Even Abrams knows can't really commit into this one. Getting some good damage on DMB before the fight, though. That'll be nice. You got to soften this guy up. You're able to burst down that Wraith. Big charge forward. Can they catch this? But not the stomp.
Get clear of the stomp here. I mean, Surge of Power here on the Wraith. Very, very potent, especially when she gets that rapid fire going. She's hitting like a truck. Also, big investment in fire rate. And a test of bullets from beforehand. So that gun is definitely going to be doing some serious work on these objectives now. Base Guardian's being scrutinized. Dash gets picked up there. And it looks like it's going to be tough here for the Unks to fight their way back into the game now. A lot of these key objectives being mowed on down. A frozen shelter for a bit of a top-up for Scout and Lord and M before their next push.
Yeah, and you see Aiden's build. I mean, he did do massive damage there with the snipes. That's what he's playing for with the Boundless, but everyone on the team pretty much is dead. It's just Deathy and Wander standing. Shrine's being assaulted. Victor still has that shocking reanimation, and with 2 credits left on the rejuice, melee creeps, I see no reason for them to fall back here. I mean, they're a little bit low, might be a little bit risky. I think they're going to be going for this one.
This bag, though, I mean, you kind of just want to go spend these souls while you got them, but I think melee creeps do see a game to be won right here and now. Wander straight to the Shadow Transformation, chunked down basically instantly. Deathy gets popped here. DMB at a respectful distance, but everyone getting involved in picking off the pocket, and now the chase is on. Okay, Paradoxical swap there. Yields a kill on towards DMB, but the trade is 3 for 1. Melee creeps, of course, making use of those rejuve credits to get back into the fight. Patron's already knocked, by the way. They're looking to get this one cleared as soon as possible.
It's getting a little bit scary, right? It's 4-on-4 with the benefit of that fountain to use. Mo goes for that combo here. On one, the pullback from Abrams gets them out of the pit, closer to that fountain. And yeah, I think melee creeps have bitten off more than they can chew. Did I just see 20 gifted for that fountain defense from the Unks? Okay.
Let's go. So reshuffle. Thank you very much for the 20 gifted, and everyone else also with the primes gifted subs. Thank you very much. Still a game to go on here. It looks like there's a catch on melee creeps as they tried to get on out, but they're ready to fight for it. Apparently, his Lord of Name is at the front and center. Dash brought down. Aiden at least able to find that pick off. Maybe even a bit of a snipe was involved, and Sire is trying to beat a hasty retreat with this ice path. Deathy does not want to let the Kelvin walk away scot-free. Awkward here as melee creeps are pulled back, but they might have been feigning a total rouse as they were ready to fight. No overchase though from the Unks.
Yeah, the Unks find a couple of kills, out of that overextension. They managed to hold on for the moment, securing themselves a bit of space and time to farm. Being able to catch DMB relatively early in that fight, I think, is pretty massive considering how much damage he does. And all right, we got to see Aiden's build. He just bought Merc Mag. Bro is all damage. It's purple Vin, man. I truly don't. This is like a hard carry Vindicta build. Oh my, that hook scared me.
What is he imbuing with Merc Mag?
Probably Bird, if I had to guess, because that's like the most. Do you ever put it on?
Yeah, it's spammable, right? So yeah, it's like the same thing you would do with Quicksilver Reload, right? Whatever's the most spammable ability, I guess.
Big stacks on Deathy. Yeah, okay, you just gave him 4 stacks. Catch Fish Cake with the silence. Nice by Dash. And hey, this is how you got to play when you're, with the base to defend like this. You got to be finding those kills out on the map. 1 for 1 though. Prospect of a team fight. Prospect of the game ending here if Victor can get his claws into you.
Yeah, Scout is looking. He be hunted. Up on that higher ground here is Dash. I think it's tough for the Paradox. So now the initiation tool is gone for the Unks. Gibbs taken down a little bit earlier on. So they're operating on 4 players. And this last set of base Guardians are about to be chewed straight on through. Of course, the expected pickup of Ethereal Shift came in for our Victor player of Scout. He made good use of that 6k soul sat on him. So guy is pretty impossible to kill at this point. So we're going to shove some waves in. There's also an earn up should that be required. Melee creeps. Be taking a slightly more conservative approach to their macro in the last couple of minutes.
I mean, these afflictions from Deathy, you're kind of draining their HP. They don't really want to continue to press into the base. That being said, every objective is down but the final patron, right? This is truly the last stand for the Unks. The 30k soul devs hit surely isn't helping anything. And I think melee creeps going to play on some of this old tempo, maybe get, one more cycle of buys off with this earn. And your Unks need to continue to find those pickoffs as they were able to find that catch there onto Fish Cake with Dash. But melee creeps, I think, are going to start to be more and more ready for that as the game progresses. They're all together. They are ready for anyone to come out on the map here.
Some of the best opportunities for the Unks to catch melee creeps out are when they are falling back off the base, especially with this Paradox. But unfortunately, with Dash going down so early in the previous fight, there's no option to try and find a swap on an individual and take them out. So this is how melee creeps get further and further ahead. Of course, completely ransacking the jungle, especially these Sinners, are all going to get snatched away from the Unks. And there's just not a good way to accrue souls right now for your Sapphire side, as they are mostly confined to their base and aware, of course, that this urn is starting to drift across the map. That does represent an opportunity to fight, an engagement they might be looking for now with Aiden, who's he's topped up to the hilt with these spirit damage items. He's looking to blow people up.
Abrams looking for something, but ooh, the catches are very real. Going on Victor first is a bold move. This guy has E-Shift. He's soaking a ton of damage, and absolutely the fight is going to come in here for melee creeps. This could be the end of the game. Abrams already forced the ult. That nuke onto Deathy just absolutely popped. Aiden does have monster damage on these snipes, but Scout just shrugs it off with the ultimate.
Shotgun reanimation pops, and then obviously the bonus snatching it after the fact helped the Victor to continue fighting. Shadow transformation, a bit of a desperate gambit here for Wanda as things are looking bad for the Unks. They are down 4 players. It's just Lona and Wanda standing, and oh my God, surviving. I cannot believe how much of this damage is being soaked up. That is ridiculous. That Fury trans going a long way, I suspect, but not enough in the end. And Lona will eventually be caught out, dragged out of the town square and beaten senseless. This should be the last push for melee creeps.
That split shot damage farm was unreal. I think he was hitting like 4 or 5 players with every split shot, just healing like a god. But in the end, melee creeps are favorites here for the challenger match. They're gonna get their shot here at Redemption. Gonna go on to take Sneaky Golem there in that money match for $1,000, brought to you by Intel. And I can't say I'm shocked by this, right? We knew melee creeps would be the favorites, but I respect the Unks going for the wild meme builds. Little split shot gun Yamato, little all-in spirit nuking for Vindicta, like some builds we haven't seen in quite a long time.
I do want to see the stats, how they play out after this game, because yeah, some pretty funky builds that were mixed in here. But look, I mean, there's a moment, right, with the pocket lane where Deathy sees an overextension and he's able to turn it into a 2-for-1 exchange. And that's where I feel like that left lane, at least for the Unks, had some potential. Unfortunately, it is pretty short-lived as melee creeps tend to lean pretty heavily. But then in the mid-game, I don't hate the macro approach from Unks. Like, there's good opportunities for split pushing and some objective pickups here. They stay relatively even after going down in walkers early. But I think you highlighted it, Jake, that one Guardian that was protected by melee creeps, that flex slot that that Unks are kept off, it prevents them from using the souls from this split pushing to actually meaningfully, catch up in the game. The Deathy pocket, the afflictions were looking pretty terrifying, but outside of that, melee creeps, although looking a little disrespectful in how they were playing at times, able to close things out.
You got to give some credit to the laning from the Unks, right? Things were looking a little bit scary in the super early game, but a few clutch counter plays, some kills on the lane, some trades came in. I think John, though, was a big part of the team's success. Him and Fishcake, right? Like, you're hooking him in, and then Fishcake's clapping him down, finding all these kills, getting on top of the back line. And you see, I mean, this Vindicta, monster damage on her build, but if there's a Calco just running through you, there's not much you can do with that.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention, of course, there's a Bebop in the game, so there's always going to be some pretty potent pick potential from John, who is scaling pretty well. You can see that soul count getting some pretty monstrous gun damage. Val Walker, of course, now becoming a bit more of a niche item for those roamers around, so still makes its home in the inventory for Fishcake here. And, the Unks are dealing with the same issue. I think it was touched on in EU, Jake, is that Kelvin is just unbelievable. And when you put him in a lane that really wants to gobble that sustained damage up, that Victor, of course, loves to be, constantly topped up as he's taxing himself. You've got a really potent combo that fights extremely well.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one we'll be seeing more of, I think. However, getting Victor and Kelvin in the draft is kind of on you, Unks. Like, arguably the top 2 characters right now in the amount of threat they can put on, and able to get a very comfortable draft here for the melee creeps. Showing what they can do with it, though. Showing that in these team fights, especially able to control that tempo with the Kelvin Dome. They're just unstoppable once we get to that phase of the game when it really is all about the 6-on-6.
I think chat nailed it. They would have won if they had a Viper, but they didn't. So they got outslayed 38 kills to 14. The Unks are leaving the show, but melee creeps are just getting started. They move on to our championship match to play Sneaky Golem for $1,000 in a best of 3. As we take a look at the numbers, though, Jake, is there a build you liked? Is there anything you loved here?
Dude, Wander, what the hell?
All right, Wander's build is Thanos. I respect this build, bro.
Based.
I'm gonna say this. Don't go this in your games, guys. I really wait. Low key, if you're
do it
low
right
rank,
now.
do go this.
Bro, Fury Trance, Lucky Shot, Split Shot is unbelievably based.
This build is crazy in low rank. Actually, you just you're actually Thanos on this Yamato build. Deathy top damage. So Deathy the goat. Don't at me. I don't care. He's playing pocket. I don't care. He's using affliction.
Oh man.
We saw Kelvin get another win. Is that the difference maker? Is it that simple right now, or was it just terrible drafting across the board from the young Suber?
It wasn't terrible. I think like it's a combo. Like the draft is pretty reasonable, right? You have pocket, you've got paradox, you've got good roaming potential. Obviously, in those team fights, you've got Yamato, you've got Viscous, right? Your comp is fine. The build obviously takes an interesting turn in the case of a couple of these heroes, like the Mercurial Magnum, sort of Boundless Spirit on the Vindicta. But the idea, of course, is to snipe people out of the game. I think that melee creeps, like Jake points out, they get Kelvin, they get Victor, they've got strong lanes, right? They have that bebop aspect there for John. And I was kind of like, seeing what the Wraith can do, working her way in here, looking extremely potent. A couple of the itemization. I love seeing Spellslinger. We saw it, I think, in EU, also picked up by the Lady Geist. So it's a nice little mix. She melts objectives very well with rapid fire, especially if you're imbuing that ability with surge power. So yeah, nice build. I like that.
I sure hope it's not a catfish. We have a surprise secret donor who is offering to match up to 100 of our subs to get us to 1,000 subs to celebrate the end of our 10th episode. Real quick, we got to give a shout out to everyone who helped us get to this point, Jake, because I am told we are now up to 858 after that game. Lousy came in, Drake Sid, Pedro Cattons, Ho Jake, Tone Woody, Lemony Snacket, Vix Napalm. We had Syneda, DM Lunatic, Vessel TV, Jiggly Shadow, Some Tricksta, Skytano, Ropes on Fire with another 5, Not a 323, Balrog Obama with the Prime, Balrog Obama with the 3 gifted, Captain Timo, Tanner the Fishman hitting us with the resub, Balrog Obama with another gifted. We had Radish Supreme with 10 gifted, Sorays Truffle hitting us with 20 gifted, and then Obi Kim felt left out after winning $1,000. Obi was gifted a sub as well. His night is complete, and we just topped it off with a free 100 bits from gay actor Michael Douglas. Thank you for being here. Shout out to the sour worms that gave Mitch that amazing face and great reaction.
Oh yeah, that's what's giving me the face. Yeah.
How's your tongue right now?
Is crazy, bro. Dude, I love anything covered with citric acid. I won't lie to you. I love sour sweets. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But the sort of the spittle that's being generated is quite off the charts. I won't lie.
Yeah, there's a lot of spittle that we'll let you get rid of here in a second. Jake, though, we just took a look at the highlights. Do you have an MVP?
Let's see. Honestly, I got to give this one to Prod. See what they pick as far as the best clips. It could have been anyone, but it had to be Lord and
the Mo, bro.
20 assists, Mr. Mo, the pummeler. Was it Mo or Krill? This game, I'm gonna say was Mo. I think it was a little bit more Mo than Krill. I think Krill was kind of slacking. He's just riding. Yeah. He's doing his little thing.
Listen, some days you give 20, they give 80. Other days you give 100, they give 0. It's all right. You know what I mean? That's a relationship.
True.
Can't be at 100 all the time.
Facts. Mo and Krill, relationship goals.
For people like me who don't know what Mo and Krill are supposed to do in game, what did they do to achieve this MVP award?
You run up at people and you press 4, and they can't do anything for like 5 seconds.
Look at this. Watch this. Outplayed. Mo and Skrill, baby. Mo and Skrill.
Yeah. That's all you do, man. Again, like you carry like a lot of like debuffing items, cold front, you carry silence wave. You basically want to lock an individual down and out of the game until you pummel them senseless like that.
This is crazy. Just comboing him under his walker. You're going into a man's house. You're going into his house
with the cat lady.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Straight into the cookie jar, bro. You got them multicolors from 3 years ago and you're still gobbling them down. You know their style. You don't care. It's about sending a message. Your cookies are mine, bro.
Ozzy Lion, thank you for the Mo and Krill skin here on the night shift. Deadlock popping off as always. Thank you to all the new subs. We expect more to flow through during the finals. We're matching up to 100 till we get to 1,000 over on twitch.tv/Deadlock Night Shift. We just crowned our MVP. Are you guys ready to update the bracket? Uber, it's looking pretty good. Sneaky Golems, Hydration, back in action with the new squad, and he's also going to be joining us on the Graveyard Shift post show.
That's going to be great. I mean, Hydration is not known for being very verbose. So look forward to brevity being the soul of wit in that particular interview. Hopefully we can tease a little bit out of the guy, but we're great to have him on the show later. Hopefully he's in a good mood after Sneaky Golem take that game down, but I want another 3-game final packet. That's what I'm locked in for. Give me maximum Deadlock today from NA.
All right, the Christian white rapper Chris Puckett sending us to a break. Don't go anywhere. It's the night shift. Jake, get your jewels on, bro. See you
my bad.
Where my jewels at, bro? Where my jewels at?
I got my chains.
Break time. Get us to a break. Throw it to a break. Seriously, break. Solomon, break.